Psychiatry for a Mad World. An extract from the book. Who should be sectioned? In the UK, if a person's mental illness is causing significant safety risks for the individual or for others, the authorities are permitted by law to take the individual into compulsory care, against their will if necessary. Being taken into compulsory mental care is called being sectioned, which derives from the sections of the British Mental Health Act 1983, which provide the legal power to take a person into care. The Act's guidelines for doctors state that the patient must be, quote, suffering from a mental disorder of a nature or degree which warrants the detention of the patient in a hospital for assessment or treatment for at least a limited period, and that the patient ought to be detained in the interests of the patient's own health and safety or with a view to the protection of other people. End quote. The British law defines disorders as, quote, any disorder or disability of mind, end quote. This definition includes conditions such as schizophrenia, depression, bipolar affective disorder, anxiety disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, eating disorders, personality disorders, autistic spectrum disorders, organic disorders such as dementia, behavioural changes due to brain injury, and mental disorders due to drug use. The definition covers learning disabilities only where they are associated with abnormally aggressive or seriously irresponsible behaviour. The Zobians have similar guidelines in their Galactic Mental Health Act. They look at what they call Global Catastrophic Disorder, or GCD, a complex planet-wide illness resulting from the accumulation of mental health disorders in individuals. So why did the Zobians decide to section the entire human race? It seems a bit unfair when most of us appear to be sane. The Zobians have a wider scope to their mental health work. They also refer their work to a benchmark of absolute truth. They strive to promote absolute mental health, mental perfection, to be free of all disorders. In this, they differ somewhat from Earth psychiatrists. Let's compare the Galactic Mental Health Act with the British Mental Health Act. Remember, the Earth Act grants permission to detain a patient for the protection of other people, but the Galactic Mental Health Act goes further. It grants permission to detain a species with a view to the protection of other life. Looked at like this, we can see the British Mental Health Act itself has a degree of mental ill health within it. Where our Earth Act defends the safety of only people instead of all life, it is taking a narcissistic stance. The following symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder, as listed by Earth psychiatrists, show how a typical Homo sapien would fit into this diagnosis if we use the Zobian Act. Grandiosity. They will think they are above all others around them. Since the Earth Mental Health Act does not consider all other life, many of our human activities are clearly grandiose and so probably narcissistic. Lack of empathy. Again, humans often lack empathy towards other life. Fantasies of unlimited success, omnipotence. The way humans are treating our planet at present certainly suggests this. Feelings of being special or unique. Where the Earth Act leaves out the rest of life from the list of victims of the person to be sectioned, it is saying Homo sapiens is somehow special. Again, this is narcissistic. Feels entitled to priority treatment. This is a ubiquitous trait of the human. For example, many religions hold the opinion that humans are entitled to priority treatment from God. Our Earth Mental Health Act is serving our species, but only our species, in a blindly selfish, narcissistic manner. It follows that the people who created our law, which determines who is dangerously mentally ill, must themselves have been suffering from the disorder of narcissism. Taking the Zobian benchmark of absolute truth and absolute mental health, we are forced to conclude that the people who made that most fundamental mental health law themselves had a degree of mental illness. No doubt the people who created the law perceived themselves as mentally healthy. It follows then that they are also slightly delusional. So here we have found some evidence of mental illness in Homo sapiens, and it exists in the fundamental legal definition of who is dangerously mentally ill, written by people who perceive themselves as well. This may at first sight seem impossibly unlikely, but when we put aside our preconceptions and follow, as rigorously as we can, absolute truth, we have no choice but to concede this is right. The Zobians then have their rigorous benchmark, their Galactic Mental Health Act, which protects all life from harm. How did our civilization compare to their benchmark? All human activity is caused by one thing, the human mind. Everything we do is first motivated by a conscious will inside an individual, be that the will of the President of America, or the man wielding the chainsaw, or the nurse caring for the patient, or the teacher passing on truths and falsehoods. All the joy we generate, or all the suffering we cause, is created by the mind. Looking at our planet, we have no choice than to admit there are enormous global problems ahead of us, for the environment, world poverty, for peace, for animal welfare, and for religious unity. And every one of those problems is a matter of mind. We will see that the Zobians were quite correct in sectioning the human race. Most, if not all, suffering on Earth is caused by mental disorders, and as such it was the duty of the Zobians to step in, to heal our disorders, and to eliminate suffering. Before we go on, the reader should know that our fictional story offers more than just a little light relief. I believe that if we were to adopt the Galactic Mental Health Act, it would be a genuine improvement on the Earth Act. I also intend the illness global catastrophic disorder to be adopted by the wider psychiatric community as a term which describes the true levels of mental disorder on our planet, mental disorder which leads to suffering on a global scale.